Good morning. I'm going to use another brush today. This is what I found. Can you read it? It says 5 Hua Hong Korea. And yes, I bought it in Korea. And I will be using the Pastel Dreams along with the Currents palettes from Art Philosophy. Not a sponsor. Okay, there we go. You should always have pots of water. I separate my colored pot from just the white pot I need. I'm using student grade, as this is always a practice painting. Student grade paper. Let's move this so you can see. It's 9 by 12 inches. It's 100 GSM in thickness. And if you're in the Philippines, 10 sheets of this kind of paper is 55 pesos. Okay, so it of course does not give you the absorption that you need to paint over so many times as a typical watercolor paper should, but again, we are practicing, and how fun is that? So let us begin. Some of you know I love doing flower wreaths, and so that's what we're doing again today. I'm loading my brush, and let's begin with the center of a flower, which should be darker than the rest of the portions. And right now I'm using a C stroke wherein I use the tip and then I lay it flat and then I move back to the tip again to get a shape that I want. Okay, I just added water and I am now slowly just using water and more water and more water until the paper is just all water. So that way I am making this rose, or at least giving you the impression that the color is lightening and that the flowers or the petals on the outermost edges are very light. Instead of using white, you just use water. Hence the name watercolor. I'm just adding some kind of border using whatever paint that is left so that you can see the edges. I have not used this paintbrush in more than a year, so I forget its powers. But it's round, so it should do the trick each and every time. I just have to get used to it now. So I'm now working with a darker pink, and I'll do the same technique. Just use the tip, lay it down once in a while, flatten that brush so I can get a thicker coverage, and then at some point like now I start adding water to the brush and adding more water, and I'm just going to move the paint to the different sections of the paper. And you have to make sure also that your paper has not expired. Apparently, paper has an expiration date. What that means is that it stops absorbing the way it should, or the way it has promised it would, and you get a really terrible inconsistent stroke that hopefully wasn't really your fault. But it happens. Okay, so far we've got 2 flowers on. I will go and always try to do the do things in threes type of rule. So I will now attempt a third rose, and this third rose is in the browns color scheme, which is okay. If we're going to trust the palette color choices of art philosophy, you are going to be surprised at how wonderful, how rich, how pleasant the color combinations turn out to be. And as much as I'd like to take all the credit, I can't, because the palette choices were made for me, and that's a good thing this morning. Less chances of not making a mistake, but less chances of having to think, and this is a good case of just enjoy the moment. In Nirvana Fitness, which I teach, there's a Slovenian term called tuki. That means being present, just being in the moment and enjoying what you're doing. And I find I get to do that a lot when I'm painting. And if you've seen me paint before, you'll notice that I love painting flower wreaths. I've tried painting other stuff. I've joined classes, but this is my go-to. This is where I relax. When I join other classes as a student, I get very excited. I play and I do what I need to do to copy the painting, but I get so nervous trying to do it right, do it nicely, And I realized I'm not relaxed when I'm learning something new. Then again, we must remember that success is when we step out of our comfort zones, right? So, let's see what we can do with this palette. I'm using a brown right now. I don't know why I picked it up when it should be green or a version of. But again, let's see what happens. Part of watercolor painting for me, at least for beginners, and I say this a lot, is accepting accepting choices, accepting mistakes, working with mistakes, and seeing where things go. And this is one of those moments wherein the teacher has to accept what happened, what went wrong, where I went wrong. Then again, it's not yet wrong. By doing this, by laying out something darker, you find a way to show the limits of your petals, especially if they're very light. Okay, now I'll switch to a green of sorts. It's a light one, and I'll put it where the pink is. Okay, I'm just mixing whatever I can find on the set. I'm not mixing new colors right now. I'm just enjoying what I see. Usually I put leaves last, but today, for some reason, I just wanted to dress up these roses before I continued. Okay. The last few days were pretty toxic, hectic for me. And I find that I do have time this morning to do this. Okay. Now I'm going to change colors. I'm going to be a little bold. I'm going to make the leaves of this third flower blue. You know, I've been painting, and if you check my YouTube and my Instagram, I've been painting the same types of flowers for what, maybe 20 videos now. And in the last few videos, I've decided, let's play. And so here I am playing in front of everybody. And we are all excited to see what we end up with, because even I'm not Bob Ross, you know, that painter with a Jufro, they call. He had a very nice head of hair, and since he's not black, it's kind of hard to say afro, right? Anyways, and I found out he has never sold any of his paintings. The company that produced his work has kept them all. So not that he could not sell, they just did not want to sell. And they have decided, one more thing, Bob Ross would paint 3 sets of his paintings. And that's amazing to me, because, you know, trying to recapture what you did in the first painting, much less the second or the third, is a real feat for me. So now I'm going to start with other light colors that I find on this palette, and it's a blue one. I tend to pretend is that a nice word? I pretend that lots of flowers are hiding behind the flowers that are here. And when I do that, you know, I don't have full flowers, which is okay. I prefer to have imagination running the show. Okay. And I leave white sections to give you the idea that there is light streaming through. Okay, just keep. This is a thick brush. Again, I'm getting used to it today. It says size 5. It's not a size 5 as I know it to be. I know size 5s to be, but again, we work with it. We enjoy it. We enjoy the moment. Okay. So I am ending up with round colored flowers at the moment. And this is fine. Just loading my brush. So when we make thicker strokes, we use the side of the brush. That way we can get more coverage faster. And when I tap onto the tip of my brush, this is what you call loading or unloading. You drop pigment onto the wet parts of your painting, and for me that's really cool. It makes the painting more fuller, and it gives you an idea that I'm so talented, but really all I'm doing is enjoying the nature of water, that it finds more water. So let's move to another part of the paper. Why? It's because we don't want our palm to brush up against something that's wet. So we work on a portion that is dry or empty. And this paintbrush is not as nice as I remembered it to be. Maybe that's why I haven't used it for the longest time. It does not lay flat on the paper. and it leaves a hole. But that's okay. Again, we work with what we have. Let's enjoy the moment. Drop, drop, drop. Drop, 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 drop. Dropping because I can, because it's pretty. Paint, watercolor paint will dry lighter than when you painted it on. So I feel a little better knowing this, especially when I have mistakes or when it's not as pretty as I thought it would be initially. Okay, moving on. I will go with a purple. Let's see, let's review what we have. I have not yet used the Currents palette. I'm just using the Pastel Dream. Okay, and this purple one can go here. Let's lighten this section. Okay, and I'm assuming this section is drier, so I can revisit different areas of it. At some point, we are going to come up with a wreath. Right now, it's not looking round or elliptical as we want it to be, but it's the journey, not the destination, guys. That's funnest. Right. So we continue. If you're lacking paint, you can pull from a section that has lots of it, like I just did now. Then while that is wet, I'm dropping paint. This one looks lonely and alone. I don't know why I forgot all about it. Let's return to it. And let's complete it. Ew, what happened? There we are. We move on. Let's lighten the flowers. Let's give it a I've got yellows here. Let's have a yellowish one. Let's make it festive now. Okay, here we go. Can you see that? So I'm flattening it before I lift it again. Flatten, lift to a point. That way we can get ourselves a, maybe what, a daisy. And let's use the lighter yellow. And let's add a few of those somewhere else, like here. just keep going. The last thing I really put would be the leaves, just to help shape the wreath along. But sometimes, like what I did with the roses, I put them ahead of time so I can ensure spots around the roses. Sometimes there are no more spots left, and I find that the roses look a little off. Okay, adding a little pink red to the wet spots, and it will move on its own. You know what? Purples and blues, I'm coming for you. Here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Let's put some purples and blues here. Just adding water, whatever's left on the brush. Add it here. More purple, and then I'll move to the blue in a moment. And then here I go, adding blue. Now let's cover that. So what I'm doing now, I've decided to cover the yellow. It's called glazing. When you put one color over the other, and hopefully the one you put underneath is dry. So glazing, mission accomplished. I'm just adding dark spots to wet areas. Okay, light blue. I'm coming, hold on. So here's a light blue installation. And the light blue is supposed to just make, you know, to temper the dark spots. And maybe some here. Give up on this thick brush. I'm about to bring out the silver black. Maybe later. Let's just give it a little bit more, a few more chances. Saw that, but we are adding more pinks and reds. Well, it's not really a red, is it? And now it's almost an old rose. This side needs a little work. Cleaning the brush, and then let me add another layer to this one. That's not as nice as I thought it would be, but as I said, we work with what we have. I'll play around with that later. Maybe a little brown. Darker brown. This is blue, by the way, but you can't really tell, huh? Dots and dropping color all over the place. Okay. What else? So I'm mixing the pink and the yellow that's left on the palette, and whatever color ends up on the brush is what I'm now painting here near the corner. It's a brown, old rose type of shade. Okay, I'm just finishing all the colors left on the palette. Well, not really, that's not true. The mixing palette. And hopefully we come up with something soon. Some more browns. Blue. This side just needs a little darkening somehow. Kind of turned out gray, but I'll take it. Gray green even. Okay. Loading whatever I have on the palette that is blue, and let's show you. So blue stuff, blue, and then I'm going to add, I'm cleaning the brush and I'm adding yellow. As you will see, there is hardly a green here. You have to make your own green. Okay, so now I'm mixing, and I have a very happy limey green. I will move on to my other palette soon since it's all greens and blues. But since I've concocted this one, let me play around with it. I've added more blue, and now I will use the tip and add pointy leaves. I like this brush because it's holding a lot of fluid. So I I'm going to go around. And I will vacillate. Words that I hardly use but know about. I will help vacillate between light green and dark green as I have them on my mixing palette. And I will also turn the paper around, that way I don't hit wet stuff. Okay, so far so good. Let's keep going. So we are now adding leaves, pointy ones at that. Nothing major, just leaves. Okay, let's try to be major here. Do you see how we make the leaves now? It's how you control the paintbrush. And it's typically just one stroke and we're done. You don't have to keep returning to that spot. And remember, if you keep returning to that spot, your paper will react. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm using student grade paper right now, so I cannot afford too much paper reaction. So I'm playing with dark and light. I'm enjoying all sorts of shades that I'm pulling from the mixing palette. How do you find the weather lately? I find that amihan is here. That's the December winds, right? And it's really nice. You can sleep without much. Well, last night I didn't use the AC for the first time voluntarily because of the wind blowing through the windows. Okay, so I'm just repeating the technique. I'm just laying the brush flat sometimes and then finishing it off with a tip. So tip, flat, tip, tip, flat, tip. I hope you're seeing it and believing it, because it's that easy. Painting, if you set your mind to it, being something easy, becomes easy and fun. Bring the yellows back. I've got all types of greens on the palette now. I need to ensure that I have different greens Sorry. So the leaves, when I do them last, serve to find or to give the shape to my wreath. Whereas before I started with the leaves first and then I was adding flowers. So I've changed my tactics. I've changed the way I start and end my paintings. I guess that's what happens when you're growing and you're learning your style. Just keep going. How about here? Maybe this section needs something. And the scariest part, if I could call it scary, is not knowing when to stop. So, as an artist, it's your job to edit. It's your job to see when enough is enough, or a certain section needs more attention, like this one. So we give it. That's a house dog that we have right now. His name is Jordan, and he has discovered neighbors. Let's work with something dark here and cover the light colored areas. Like so. Soon, maybe in a few more strokes, I will end the leaf painting portion of this process video. We will add stamens and find the way to make the flowers a little bit more interesting. Yeah. I think we're done. Maybe just a few more. Just a few more. Don't hurt me. They need attention. They need love. These flowers have no leaves whatsoever and they look a little unnatural. Alright, so that done. I will now use the darkest color I have on my palette, which is a blue, and we will work with the centers of the flowers. I don't normally or want to, and it's not normal to do so, to have the same centers, but well, we're just playing, and having the same center ties the whole picture together. Today, that's what makes me happy. So that's what we're going to do. So artistic license and all that. Okay, so just drop circles. Well, the nice thing about this brush is that it's giving me nice circles. Not all brushes can do this, and so I'm grateful I can, at least with this brush. So small concessions. Jordan! Hey, what? What's up? What's so interesting out there? Well, anything but here, I guess. Can you see? So for this flower, I'm just going to go around and leave the center empty. So I'm moving in an orderly fashion around the page. This way I don't miss one flower center, because I've done that before. I've posted to Instagram and YouTube, and then next thing you know, I have to return, I have to redo stuff. So I would like everybody to find me on Facebook, Workshops by Roxy. Find me on Instagram, Rosana Raneta. And find me on YouTube, Rosana Raneta. Please, please. If you like what you see, or if you at least were entertained by this painting, or relaxed by this painting, do me the huge favor of subscribing to my channels. That way I know there is, support, however invisible, from friends and acquaintances around the world. And if you'd like to learn firsthand, I am always here. We can do a virtual class. Look at that. I almost missed one. We can do a virtual class on Zoom, Facebook, Messenger. There you are. So this is our output for today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Bye!